Have you ever had the feeling that certain coincidences in your life are more than just chance? Maybe you see repeating numbers, meet unexpected people, or events occur in an incredibly synchronized way. What if I told you that these moments of synchronicity are signs of something much bigger happening inside you? In this video, we will explore how these synchronicities are gateways to a heightened state of consciousness. By understanding and paying attention to these signs, you can unlock a new level of perception and live more in alignment with the universe. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover could completely transform the way you see your reality. Welcome to the Eye of the Soul channel. To evolve and reach a higher state of consciousness, it is essential to overcome fear and adopt a new way of seeing life. Fear is a limiting force that keeps us stuck in reactive patterns of thinking and behavior. When we live in fear, we feel obliged to control everything around us, believing that only then can we guarantee security and stability. However, this mindset creates more resistance and prevents us from experiencing life fully. The first step to transcend fear is recognizing that life is a continuous flow of events and experiences that we cannot completely control. Every moment offers an opportunity for growth, as long as we are willing to release the need for control. Instead of reacting with fear and anxiety, we can choose to trust the process of life, understanding that each situation, no matter how difficult, brings with it a valuable lesson. This trust allows us to connect with a higher state of being, where peace and clarity prevail. The acceptance plays a fundamental role in this process. Accepting what happens, without resisting or trying to change immediately, opens up space for us to see beyond the difficulties and understand the greater purpose behind each experience. This does not mean passivity, but rather a willingness to observe and learn from each circumstance rather than fight against it. When we open ourselves to this understanding, we begin to realize that many of our worries and fears are illusions created by the mind. Entering a higher state of being also requires that let us cultivate self-awareness. This involves the practice of being present in the moment, observing our thoughts and emotions without getting attached to them. When we become more aware of our patterns of fear and control, we can consciously work to change them by choosing new ways to respond to life. This continuous practice helps us stay calm and balanced, even when faced with challenges. Additionally, it is important to recognize that fear never completely disappears. Instead of trying to eliminate it, we can learn to use it as a guide, understanding that it arises when we are about to do something significant or face a new phase in life. The secret is not to let fear paralyze us, but rather see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. The journey to reach a higher state of consciousness is made up of 6 levels that reflect different ways of seeing life and reality. Each of these stages represents a significant step toward a deeper understanding of existence and the role we play in the universe. Initially, many people live in a limited state, focused only on everyday challenges and trapped in cycles of fear and resistance. However, as they progress through these levels, they begin to discover a new way of being, characterized by freedom, clarity, and unity. Each of these 6 levels that we will look at below offers a unique and powerful perspective on how to live life. As we progress through these stages, we move away from limitation and fear and closer to a more enlightened existence in tune with the natural flow of the universe. This path, although challenging, is an opportunity to expand consciousness and achieve lasting inner peace and freedom. First level, life happens to you. The first level of consciousness is characterized by a feeling of powerlessness and lack of control over what happens around. At this stage, the person feels like a victim of circumstances, believing that external events determine their reality and that they have no power to change them. This perception creates a cycle of resistance, fear, and frustration, where life seems to be a series of unfair challenges that just happen, without a clear purpose. Those at this level tend to react to everything that occurs automatically, often with negativity. Instead of seeing opportunities for growth or learning in difficulties, the person feels oppressed by them. This limited vision prevents you from seeing beyond immediate problems, making it difficult to realize the potential for change that exists in each situation. The belief that the world is something that happens against her dominates her mind, resulting in a constant defensive stance. This victim mentality also generates a great deal of emotional suffering. Feelings of injustice, anger, and sadness are common, as the person cannot see how their actions or choices may be contributing to the results they are experiencing. This creates a feeling of stagnation, where it seems like nothing can be done to improve the situation. The person may even seek external solutions, but without an internal change, the cycle of frustration and suffering continues. Fear is a predominant emotion at this level. It arises from the feeling that the world is unpredictable and that control over one's life is minimal. As a result, the person's focus is on what is beyond their reach, and they tend to worry about the future, with the idea that something bad could happen at any moment. This fear reinforces the feeling of powerlessness and makes it difficult to take proactive actions to transform one's reality. However, this first level is a necessary step in the evolution of consciousness. It's where most people start, and recognizing that position is the first step to overcoming it. Upon realizing that this mindset is limiting their ability to live fully, a person can begin to seek new ways of interpreting life events, opening themselves up to the possibility that there is, in fact, power in their choices and reactions. Overcoming this level requires a change in perspective. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, a person needs to start questioning their view of reality and their role in it. This process can be challenging, but it is the way to leave the state of fear and impotence and begin to become aware that even in difficult situations, there are choices and possibilities for growth. Second level. Life happens for you. At the second level of consciousness, the person begins to realize that they have some degree of control over their reality. Unlike the previous stage, where life seemed like something that simply happened arbitrarily, at this level, the person begins to understand that their actions, thoughts, and choices can influence the results they experience. This marks a significant transition from a passive stance to a more active one, where there is a growing sense of personal power. At this stage, the person takes responsibility for their efforts and begins to see that they can, through planning, hard work, and dedication, shape their destiny. This brings a feeling of autonomy and relief, as there is an understanding that it is no longer necessary to live at the mercy of circumstances. Instead, she begins to believe that by investing energy and focus on certain goals, she can achieve success and create the life she wants. However, with this new perception of control comes a feeling of tension. Although the person understands that they can shape their reality, this also creates internal pressure to maintain that control. The illusion that it is possible to control every aspect of life leads to a constant search for perfection, where any failure is seen as a reflection of a lack of effort or personal skill. This can result in anxiety and exhaustion as the person endlessly tries to manage everything around them. The desire for control at this level is often motivated by the fear that if something goes wrong, it will be solely the person's fault. This mentality, although more advanced than the previous level, is still limited, as it is based on the assumption that everything must be meticulously planned and organized to ensure success. The person can become excessively focused on goals and results, losing the flexibility necessary to deal with unforeseen events and situations that are beyond their control. Despite these limitations, the second level is a significant improvement over the first, as it allows the person to begin to recognize their own power. The journey of self-discovery gains depth as she understands the importance of intention and conscious effort. However, this stage still carries the illusion that total control is possible, and often the person can end up frustrated for not being able to achieve all their goals, even with a lot of effort. The essential learning at this level is that, although we can influence our reality, absolute control is impossible. Life still contains elements that are beyond our reach, and the secret to progressing through the next stages is learning to balance effort with acceptance. Third level, life happens within you. At the third level of consciousness, a person begins to realize that their experiences are shaped in large part by their inner world, their beliefs, emotions, and perceptions. Here, the person stops seeing external control as the only way to shape their reality and starts to understand that what happens inside them is fundamental to influencing what happens externally. It is at this stage that introspection and self-knowledge become essential, as life begins to be seen as a reflection of what is happening in your mind and heart. This level brings a deep understanding that personal beliefs create filters that influence how we interpret situations around us. If, for example, someone believes that the world is hostile, this belief can cause them to see challenges everywhere, even when they are not that big. On the other hand, if a person adopts a mindset of confidence and optimism, they will begin to see more opportunities than problems. This change in the way she perceives the outside world has a direct impact on her life experience. The person then begins to take responsibility not only for their external actions, but also for their internal thoughts and feelings. This marks an important step in the evolution of consciousness, as the person comes to understand that controlling their emotional reactions and beliefs can be more powerful than trying to control external circumstances. She discovers that by changing her perspective, she can transform the way she experiences life events, making them more meaningful and less stressful. At this level, meditation, reflection, and practices that encourage mindfulness become extremely valuable. These practices help a person cultivate self-awareness, allowing them to identify negative or limiting thought patterns. By recognizing these patterns, a person can work to change them, which leads to a gradual improvement in their quality of life. This process of internal transformation is a fundamental characteristic of this stage of consciousness. However, the transition to this level can be challenging, as it requires an openness to confront deep emotions and beliefs that have been ignored or suppressed. It may be uncomfortable to face these inner truths, but it is a necessary step towards growing and evolving. The person begins to understand that, instead of just reacting to external events, they can work on themselves to create a more solid emotional and mental foundation, which will allow them to face any circumstance with more clarity and balance. Fourth level, life happens to you. At the fourth level of consciousness, there is a profound change in the way we see life events. The person begins to understand that everything that happens, whether positive or negative, happens for a greater reason, contributing to their personal growth and evolution. At this stage, challenges, difficulties, and even moments of pain begin to be seen as learning opportunities, rather than mere obstacles. The focus stops being on control or resistance and becomes on acceptance and understanding that life works in your favor. This level of awareness brings a sense of relief and confidence in the natural flow of events. The person realizes that, even when facing adversity, these experiences are necessary for developing their capabilities and expanding their understanding. Instead of fighting the challenges, the person begins to question, what can I learn from this? How can this situation make me stronger or wiser? This questioning allows her to extract valuable lessons from moments that, in the past, would only be seen as meaningless difficulties. There is also a growing perception of synchronicity, when events seem to align in a meaningful way, as if the universe is conspiring to help. The person begins to notice signs along their journey, recognizing that certain coincidences are not merely random, but are part of an intelligent unfolding. This understanding strengthens the idea that life is always in motion, directing people to the right place and the experiences they need to evolve. The sense of purpose becomes clearer at this level. The person stops seeing their life as a chaotic sequence of events and begins to see a common thread that unites everything that happens. There is a deeper acceptance that even hardships play an important role in the growth process. This level of understanding allows her to face challenges with more serenity and resilience, knowing that, in some way, these experiences are contributing to her development. Although this level brings a sense of peace, it also requires the person to have an active attitude of reflection and integration. It's not enough to just go through the experiences. It is important to reflect on them and find the meaning they carry. Life stops being a sequence of random events and becomes a process of self-discovery and transformation. This new perspective helps a person feel more gratitude, even for difficult circumstances. as they recognize that they are being shaped by something greater. At this level, a person learns to trust the process of life. She opens up to the idea that everything that happens has a reason, and that life always offers exactly what she needs at each moment. This trust in the natural unfolding of events sets the stage for an even higher state of consciousness, where control is completely replaced by acceptance and flow with the universe. Fifth level, life happens through you. At the fifth level of consciousness, the person comes to understand that he is a channel through which the energy of life flows. This stage represents a powerful transition, where the focus goes completely out of control and enters a state of surrender and alignment with the universe. The person stops trying to shape reality with deliberate effort and begins to allow life to flow more naturally, trusting the process and letting their intuition and creativity guide their actions. At this level, there is an openness to the creative flow that comes from being in harmony with the present moment. One begins to realize that rather than striving to achieve certain goals or controlling outcomes, true freedom and power comes from allowing oneself to be a channel for life. This means being open to new ideas, solutions, and directions that arise spontaneously when you are in tune with your surroundings. Decisions become more intuitive and less based on fear or the need for control. This change in perspective brings a feeling of lightness. Life stops being a constant struggle to achieve something or avoid failure and becomes a fluid dance where the person acts with confidence and dedication. Action at this stage is driven by inspiration, not obligation or anxiety. The person realizes that, by aligning themselves with the natural flow of life, opportunities present themselves organically, without the need for so much conscious effort. Living on the fifth level also means greater connection with other people and the world around you. When you stop focusing only on your own desires and needs, you begin to realize that you are interconnected with everyone and everything. There is an expansion of consciousness, where actions and choices begin to reflect a sense of service and contribution to the greater good. The person acts not only for himself, but as part of a whole, serving as a channel for the energy of life to bring something positive to the world. This level of surrender to the flow of life also allows a person to deal with challenges differently. Instead of trying to resist or change difficulties, she accepts them as part of the path, trusting that, by flowing with the moment, she will find the necessary solutions more smoothly and effectively. This does not mean passivity, but rather a deep trust that by acting in alignment with the present, the results will be beneficial. At the fifth level, a person experiences a sense of oneness with the universe. She understands that she does not need to force life to follow a specific path, but rather to open herself to the possibilities that the universe offers. This stage is marked by trust in the process, surrender to the present, and the ability to be an instrument for life to manifest itself in a creative and harmonious way. One becomes a true expression of the universal flow, living with authenticity, grace, and purpose. Sixth level, life is you. At the sixth and final level of consciousness, the person reaches a state of total union with the universe, where the separation between the individual I and life itself completely disappears. At this stage, there is a deep understanding that the person and life are a single entity, without distinction. It is a level of consciousness characterized by a feeling of absolute unity with the whole, where the person recognizes themselves as an inseparable part of the universal flow. At this level, the person no longer sees life as something external or separate from their experience. She understands that everything that exists, people, events, the environment, is an extension of herself. This feeling of unity generates a deep inner peace, as the struggle to control, resist, or manipulate life completely disappears. There is no longer conflict between personal desire and the natural flow of events, because the person realizes that they themselves are the flow. The perception of time and space also changes. At the sixth level, the person lives completely in the present moment, without worrying about the past or the future. She understands that the present is all that exists, and that any division between the self and the other is just an illusion. This vision eliminates feelings of separation or loneliness, bringing a sense of full connection with all things. the person feels in harmony with the universe, living in a state of gratitude and acceptance. With the dissolution of the ego, the need to identify with achievements, possessions, or status disappears. The person no longer worries about proving their worth or standing out, because they understand that they are part of the whole and that they are already complete. This understanding brings profound freedom, where there is no longer the pressure to be or do something specific to feel fulfilled. Life is lived simply and authentically, without pretensions. Another important aspect of this level is compassion and unconditional love. By realizing oneness with all things, one naturally becomes more compassionate and loving as one sees others as parts of oneself. Judgment, criticism, and separation lose meaning, and in their place comes a genuine desire to contribute to the well-being of all. Life is lived in a state of service, where one acts with kindness and empathy, recognizing that the good of one is the good of all. The sixth level of consciousness is, in essence, a state of enlightenment. The person stops seeing life as something that happens with or through them, and starts to recognize that it is life itself. This unity with the whole brings lasting peace and a sense of purpose that transcends the limits of individual experience. A person lives with an expanded consciousness in perfect harmony with the universe, and his existence becomes a pure expression of this unity. The integration of the 6 levels of consciousness represents a continuous process of personal and spiritual evolution. Each level offers a new way of perceiving life, moving one from fear and resistance to trust, acceptance, and oneness with the universe. Reflecting on these different phases allows a person to understand where they are currently on their journey and how they can continue to grow. This process of self-knowledge and reflection is essential to promote internal transformation and the expansion of consciousness. Integration involves recognizing that no level is better or worse than another, but rather that each phase is an important step on the path of evolution. At first, life seems like something that happens to you, and there is a tendency to blame external circumstances for everything that occurs. As one progresses, one learns to take on more responsibility, to understand one's inner power, and finally, to let go of the need for control, accepting that life is always in motion and that there is a greater purpose behind each event. Reflecting on the levels also allows a person to identify which patterns of thinking or behavior are still limiting their growth. Perhaps, even at more advanced levels, there are still traces of fear or the need to control aspects of life. Recognizing these points allows for greater self-awareness and the ability to work on them, releasing what no longer serves and making space for new ways of being and living. Furthermore, it is important to be patient during this process. The evolution of consciousness is not linear, and, in many cases, the person may feel that they have regressed to previous stages, especially when faced with unexpected challenges. However, this is a natural part of the path. Each level offers opportunities for growth, and revisiting previous stages can be a way to reinforce important learnings or resolve issues that have not been fully resolved. The journey through the 6 levels of consciousness represents a profound transformation in the way a person perceives and interacts with the world around them. This evolution starts from an initial state of fear, control, and resistance, to gradually reach a broader understanding, where life is seen as a continuous process of learning, growth, and connection. At each stage, the person discovers new ways of relating to their experiences, moving from a victim stance to an active role, and finally to acceptance and unity with the universe. The main lesson of this journey is that consciousness is not fixed, but something that is constantly evolving. As we move through life's challenges and joys, each experience offers us a new opportunity to expand our perception and connect more deeply with our essence and the flow of life. Progress through these levels can be gradual and often non-linear. Moments of advancement can be followed by periods of stagnation or even regression. But this is all part of the path of personal development. By reflecting on where we are in our own journey, we become more aware of the aspects we still need to work on and those we have already overcome. This self-reflection gives us the power to make more conscious choices, cultivating a life more aligned with our values and goals. By recognizing the natural flow of life and learning to trust it, we release the need for control, which allows us to live more lightly and authentically. Another important point is the acceptance that the evolution of consciousness is unique to each person. There is no rush or competition, as everyone advances at their own pace according to the experiences and learning that life offers. By accepting this, we can be more compassionate towards ourselves and others, respecting the time and space necessary for each individual to grow and transform. Now tell me in the comments, what level of consciousness are you at?